I've been in real estate for over 10 years, and I have a lot of buyers coming from different states. And what I've noticed that a lot of people make these common mistakes when they're moving to Hickory, North Carolina, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about in this video. So I narrowed down to 7 mistakes that buyers make when they move to Hickory, North Carolina. So let's get started. Mistake number 1, not researching Hickory enough. I think this is a big point that a lot of people missing. And when you are moving to Hickory, you know that you are close to the mountains, you know it's a small town, you've seen pictures of the downtown Hickory, and you know that you're close to Charlotte and Asheville. But I think a lot of people miss out on understanding what kind of neighborhoods we have here and how the whole Hickory is designed. So in Hickory, we have very diverse neighborhoods. They don't look like a lot of neighborhoods in the bigger cities when you have similar looks and similar style homes and you have it all in one area. We don't have it like this here. You may be here right next to rentals. It could be a really nice home, but then you can have rentals, or you may have a farmhouse. So you're going to have farm animals, and then you have this beautiful home next to it, and then you may have a manufactured home right next to it. So I think a lot of times when I drive people around and I show them houses, they don't realize that neighbors matter. And if you like similar look of neighborhoods, then you have to stick with specific neighborhoods. And sometimes I've shown neighborhoods where it will be a gated community, and then you get out of the gate and you will have trailer park right next to it. And a lot of people don't like it. There's nothing wrong with trailer park and there's nothing wrong with gated community, but having them right next to each other kind of surprises a lot of people. And if you are not prepared for it, I've had buyers who came with all of the intentions and thinking that this is the area, Hickory is the place to be. And then they started driving around and they realized that they really don't like how different streets look like. One street versus another street, or houses on the same street have such a different look and feel. They didn't like it, so those buyers decided to look a different area, and it's okay. You just have to have a better expectation when you get here. If I think in order to avoid this mistake, looking at Google Maps, looking at Google View of the street will definitely help you to know what kind of neighbors will be around you. And also, having a local agent would help. And also, just researching specific neighborhoods, looking online for specific neighborhoods, what kind of houses in those neighborhoods. So I think if you're more prepared, it's not going to be as big of a shock to you when you come here from bigger cities. This brings me to mistake number 2, and this is one of the probably biggest mistakes that I think buyers make, not using a local real estate agent. I know that people think that real estate agents are all the same and we just open the doors, but it's really not true. If you use a local real estate agent, then local real estate agent will know what kind of neighborhood you're looking for, where that neighborhood is. Also, we know schools districts and we know where the parks are and which parks are better and which ones are maybe easier for this age of group for the kids, or maybe kind of depends what you're looking for. It's easier for us to narrow down the area where you need to look for a house. And I think the one mistake that buyers make is when they look on Zillow, Realtor, and all these other websites, they click on the link saying on the button saying contact the agent or schedule a showing. What they don't realize it's not going to be the listing agent, and it's going to be just one of the random agents who is paying to that website to get leads, and that agent will get a lead. Well, I can tell you this, that a lot of agents from outside of Hickory, I would say Charlotte agents, Asheville agents, a lot of them are paying to be marketed in our area. But the problem is they may be great agents and they know what they're doing, but realistically, if they are in Charlotte, for example, if they are in Charlotte, then it's 1 hour drive. So you're not going to have an agent who can just be close by. uh, that makes it easier when you're looking at a bunch of houses. If you're looking at one house today and one house tomorrow, agent from Charlotte probably not going to want to drive every day 1 hour one way and 1 hour another way to show you one house. That's a one reason not to use outside area agents. And then another reason is agent in Charlotte has different areas, different why this agent focuses more on bigger city, and this agent potentially could be not in Hickory most of the time. So that means that you're going to miss out on knowing more details about our area. So, like I said, there's nothing wrong using with outside area agents because they could be great agents, but I think it helps you to get a better feel of a community and get more inside information when you're working with somebody who's local. If you are thinking about moving to Hickory, North Carolina, put in the comments where are you moving from. I'm just curious to know what state and what kind of rules you have in your states. Mistake number 3, not understanding how much upfront cost you will have, what kind of expenses you will have when you're buying in North Carolina. So North Carolina is a completely different state from other states, and we have our own contracts, we have our own rules, we have our own deposits here compared to other states. And I hear this a lot when people come here, they say, well, we don't have due diligence fee. What is it? Well, due diligence fee is a non-refundable fee, and it is required to be paid the same day when the contract is signed. So you have to have that money available that day. We also have earnest money deposit, and that deposit is due within 5 days of going under contract. So if you have different kind of deposits and different kind of fees, then you may not be prepared for what we have here. And if you have not researched it, you may not have enough money to have. We don't we don't really require a lot of money in order to buy a house, but there's still some expenses that you will have. I have a separate video on my channel where I go in details about what kind of upfront costs you should expect, how much they usually are depending on your price range and when they're due. So if you're interested in that, just find that video in my channel. But I think what is important is if you are planning on moving here, you have to know how much approximately you need to have in your savings in order to buy a house. Now let's talk about mistake number 4. It is assuming that every house in Hickory has city sewer and city water. It's definitely not true. Hickory is a smaller town, so I would say there are some houses here that you will be 10 minutes from downtown Hickory and you may have a septic tank, or you may have a well water. You may have both. So yes, a lot of houses here do have public water, public sewer, but like I said, you can be really, really close to downtown and you would think that you will have public utilities, but you may not. And the problem with that is if you are coming from public utilities and you are not used to having septic tank or well water, you may not know what kind of maintenance you need to have, what is allowed to do around septic tanks. You know, you cannot drive on the septic tank or on the leach bed. So there's rules that you will have to follow if you don't have public utilities. But then there are also benefits of having septic tank and well water because you don't have utility bills, you don't have water bill and sewer bill. So narrowing down and understanding of what kind of house you can buy here and knowing what kind of utilities you will have, it will help you to decide which area you're going to be at and be more prepared. And this brings us to mistake number 5, assuming that every neighborhood has HOA. I hear this a lot. A lot of people from different states, when they're moving, all they know is HOA. All they know that their neighborhoods and a lot of their communities have HOAs, and they assume that Hickory is going to be the same. So they say from the beginning, I really don't like HOA. I would like to be, away from HOA, and they think they have to be outside of city limits for that. But it's not true. Hickory has neighborhoods that have HOA, but we do have tons of neighborhoods that don't have HOA. And we even have some neighborhoods that have optional HOA. It's usually when you have lake access, those will be optional HOAs. But majority of the neighborhoods here, I would say, don't have HOA. So if it's something that you definitely don't want to have, you definitely need to tell your agent about it, because it's easy to avoid those neighborhoods with HOA. But if you prefer HOA, then it's easier to focus on those neighborhoods. So don't be scared. Our community here has different options. So now mistake number 6, assuming that you can have chickens and horses and other animals because you are outside of city limits. This is simply not true. Every neighborhood has, well, majority of neighborhoods have restrictive covenants. And if your neighborhood doesn't have HOA, it does not mean you can do whatever you want. So even if you are outside of city limits, there are plenty of neighborhoods that still have restrictive covenants. And those covenants could have 5 items on it, and it could be just for the builder when the neighborhood was built, and it could be, stick with this kind of square footage, and it's a 1-level houses, or, don't split your acreage or something like this, like a very simple instructions for the builder. But if you are, but there's some restrictive covenants that will have a couple pages, and those pages will specify how many pets you can have, how many horses you can have, how many, if you're allowed to have chickens. I mean, majority of the houses outside of the city limits, you will not have those kind of restrictive covenants, but it's something, if it is important to you to have chickens, let's say, if it's very important to you, you definitely need to look into restrictive covenants. And it's something that your agent should be able to help you. But I don't want you to assume that everything is allowed and then you start having problems in your neighborhood. And now we have the last mistake, number 7, that I see buyers make, is assuming that we have a high-speed internet in every community. Yes, we do have high-speed internet in a lot of communities and a lot of neighborhoods, but if you are outside of city limits, you will start having less and less options. And we do have cable, we do have, all this different like fiber and all this other internet providers. But if internet is important to you, and let's say you work from home and you need to have high-speed internet, I would recommend double checking to make sure what is the speed in this particular house. Because we are a rural town, so nothing is guaranteed. So making a move to a different city is a huge step for everybody, especially when you are moving from another state, because you may not know or expect what's going to be here. And I think just being prepared and knowing what to ask, what kind of questions to ask your agent, what kind of details to pay attention, it will definitely help you to be happier when you buy your house and you already found out every detail about this house and everything that is important to you. It will definitely make your life so much easier and a lot more enjoyable. So if you are moving to Hickory, North Carolina, or surrounding areas, I would love to help you. Reach out to me and I would love to help. If you found my video helpful, give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button.